Hey guys, it's Alex from 7th Hour Films back again with Merlin. Last time on Merlin, we had The Coming of Arthur Part 1. Part 1 of our two-part finale of Season 3. Isn't that crazy? Sir Leon was dead, but he wasn't actually dead. He was dying, though, and then the druids brought him back with the Cup of Life. He went and reported that he was brought back by the druids who used the Cup of Life. Uther was like, yo, we can't let Senred get the Cup of Life because that would be bad because he could make his armies immortal. So he sent Arthur to go find the Cup of Life. He took Merlin. They ran into Gawain. Eventually, they ran into Senred's men, who took the Cup of Life, made his army immortal. That's not really good. And instead, also, he took his immortal army, went to Camelot, killed a bunch of people, completely took over, deposed Uther of being the king, and crowned Morgana as the queen of Camelot. Oh, Senred's dead, by the way. Morgause just killed him, so... yeah, and that was the cliffhanger. We we ended on Queen Morgana Pendragon, which was pretty crazy. So it's all out in the open that she is Uther's daughter and she is evil. So, yeah, so things are going to be changing in this finale, you know? Things are definitely going to be changing because, yeah, this kind of affects the status quo, if only just for... Everyone now knows of Morgana being evil, whereas, you know, the last two seasons, like, okay, we had Nimue, and then that just kind of ended, and then we had the dragon, and then that just kind of ended. You know, even Merlin being a dragon lord didn't really change the status quo or anything, but, yeah, things are going to be different after this episode, so, yeah. So I'm very excited to get into it, but before we get into it, I do have to go over the whole thing where if you want to watch my reaction to this episode of Merlin, it's unfortunately not in this video due to copyright issues that I've had in the past, so what you gotta do is head down in the description or to the pinned comment on this video, and there'll be a link there that will take you to my reaction. The reaction highlight, it's a normal reaction, footage is in the corner, it's all edited and nice and good. You can go watch that, you can hopefully have a good time. When you're done watching that, I encourage you to come right back to this YouTube video for the discussion. So with that being said, we should go ahead and get right into this episode of Merlin. Here we go. Okay, that is the Season 3 finale of Merlin. We only got 2 seasons left. Oh, man, I'm gonna miss this show, man. I love this show. Man, oh man, that was crazy. We established, like, a lot of Arthurian legend just in this episode. I love that. Now, one thing I wanted to do was look up... Alright. The guy that played Percival looks familiar. Tom Hopper. Okay. I'm gonna... Oh. Thank you, mail. I got 2 emails. Blah. Blah. Alright. I'm gonna go to IMDb real quick here and look up that guy. Because he looks familiar. Which, by the way, I think I saw, just when I was going through trying to find names between last episode and this episode, I think I noticed that this episode is actually the highest rated episode of Merlin. So it's all downhill from here. No, I'm kidding. But I mean, I can see that. I can see that that would be the highest one. Alright, this guy looks familiar. Let me see. Oh, he plays Dickon Tarley in Game of Thrones. That's pretty cool. Let's see. He's in Black Sails, which I haven't seen Black Sails, but... yeah, Merlin... Oh, he was Jeff in the 11th hour of Doctor Who. I guess that's it. Is that really it? That's all Alright, I guess that's it. The only other thing I can really see on this guy, I recognize Black Sails. I've never seen Black Sails, but I recognize it at least. So, All right. I thought he looked familiar. Hey, I'm happy. He was pretty cool. That's the only thing though, is that like, okay, well, he just sort of showed up with Lancelot. So I don't know. It was interesting the way he just showed up and was like, all right, and I guess he's one of them. And I've been, saying for a while, because obviously I knew that Lancelot and Gawain were obviously Knights of the Round Table. But, when we first, brought in Elian, and then we kept Elian, I was thinking to myself, is Elian a knight? I don't know. And I was like, maybe he is, and I don't know. We're keeping him. But, yeah, he is one of the knights. He is a Knight of the Round Table. Man, they established the Knights of the Round Table and the Sword in the Stone in the exact same episode. And you know what? I need to get that shot. I need to get that shot of all my boys following Guinevere on horseback. Ugh. Oh. Right there. That could be a... I want an artist... Friend, okay, you know what I want? I want this, but more. I want, a giant painting of Merlin characters, and I want to hang that up right back here on the wall, because look at these guys. It is so satisfying to see both Lancelot and Gawain full armor and with the Camelot, cloak on. Oh, those two especially. Okay, Elian, yes, Elian is really cool, but Lancelot, who we've brought back, we've had him twice before now. We've had Lancelot twice before now, and both times well, he's got to go off. He's, he doesn't want to... He wants to be a knight, but he can't be a knight. And then Gawain, who was banished and, is sort of, this rogue, even though he could be a knight. To see those two in the Camelot armor and cape, oh, that is so satisfying. I want this with Arthur, with Merlin, with Gaius. I want a painting of it all. I cannot tell you how much I want that, and I want to frame that and put it somewhere on a wall, because that would be so amazing. I never expected the show to do this to me, I never expected the show to do this, where I would get so invested in these characters. And okay, maybe that doesn't sound good. It's I don't know, I never expected for this show to really be so epic like this, That's the thing. I don't know, but that is crazy. But yeah, I want that. I want that as a painting. Arthur, Merlin, and the Knights of the Round Table, along with Gaius and Queen Guinevere, which they haven't done. We still don't even have King Arthur yet. But, oh boy. But I think we're building to that, definitely. I hope they all become, regular characters now. Because, I guess they can be as regular as Sir Leon is, which, Sir Leon, he's not in the opening credits, but he's basically a series regular. He's just not in every episode. I would imagine they would do that with the other knights, in particular Gawain and Lancelot, because we've invested the most with them, So, oh man, I just love that. Just seeing our boys in the chainmail and the red cape is just awesome, man. Just awesome. And even Elian, because again, Elian, we haven't had too much time to like get invested with him. We had him when he was kidnapped, and that's great. And then we had him here, and it's like, well, okay, I guess that's that. So we haven't had too much time to really get invested with him, like with Lancelot or with Gawain. But even him, it's great to see him in those colors, It's amazing. Just amazing. Is Gwen going to have to find a new job? Because she's not... You can't be a maid to someone who's not there. And Morgana is not there. So what is... I don't know. Maybe she'll... That would actually be... what would be really funny? If she became Arthur's maid. Because then she would probably do so much better job than Merlin. And you know what? I can see them giving Merlin, like... and this is all predicated on the fact that Uther would still have Gwen do this stuff, by the way. I'm not saying I want that, but I would imagine that basically all of the really dirty jobs that Arthur has Merlin do, Merlin would still do those. And then stuff like, getting breakfast and, waking them up. I don't know. I think that could go all to Gwen, basically. Like, she gets all the good parts of the job. But after that ending, it makes you think, honestly, I don't think Arthur cares. I think this is the point where Arthur is like, all right, screw it, I'm in charge. This is literally, the coming of Arthur. This is it. Arthur is now, worthy to be king, which we set up in the Sorcerer's Shadow. And this is him taking command, basically, in all but, the name of the king. But even just, there at the end, when, he helps her off the horse and then they share a kiss, it's like, I don't think Arthur cares anymore. Same with the fact that he just knighted all these people. He knighted 4 people that Uther never would have knighted, Lancelot doesn't deserve to be a knight, technically, because, he's not of that noble blood, basically. And Gawain, what time is it? It's 11:44. Okay. Sorry. I got distracted. I was like, I need to be sure I'm checking the time, because it's Wednesday. I got to post Doctor Who today, so sorry. But yeah. And Gawain, while he is of noble birth, he was banished from Camelot completely, so... So, yeah, it's like, that's the thing, Arthur saying, like, my father would never approve of this, but screw it, I'm doing it anyway, and he knights all of them. So, yeah, that's the other thing, too. It's like, okay, well, yeah, Uther wouldn't approve of Gwen either. Arthur doesn't care anymore. So, yeah. But that's the other thing, too, is that Uther's not really in a place to argue. He's so distraught over everything. Now, does he even know that Morgana is a sorcerer? I mean, I guess it's a given, but I don't know. He's really out of it, though. He's really out of it. Okay. We should go ahead and pop into the notes. Man, like I said at the beginning, this definitely, like, changes the status quo, Where, first off, Morgana is out in the open. And now she's escaped, so she's not going to be the normal season regular. And then now we have 4 new knights, and the Knights of the Round Table, and Arthur's practically in charge, basically. So this does change a lot of things with the show, and I'm very curious to see how this is affecting the show going forward into next season. So Oh boy. Yeah, let's go ahead and pop into the notes. The first thing I wrote down is 1 week. It's been 1 week. Yeah. It was 1 week into Morgana's rule as queen. Which is interesting. It's also funny because the last thing I recorded was Breaking Bad, and I also wrote down the exact same note, 1 week. So that's just a little funny. It's like I wrote the same note on Merlin and Breaking Bad, just because they're talking about 1 week, you know? But yeah. Morgana's rule lasted for 1 week. You know, could be worse, I guess. Could have been a day, but yeah, she only lasted 1 week as the queen, which I feel like that has to go down on the record, doesn't it? Does that go down on the record? You know, Morgana, Pendragon, queen for 1 week? I don't know. Oh yeah, so I wrote down, I wrote down Leon. It's Sir Leon, though. I love that no matter what, they will always say Sir Leon, you know? Which is pretty cool. So, so Leon was there, and, I mean, that was pretty crazy, too, and, you know, with everything of, you know, him not wanting to submit to Morgana, which made sense, and then it's like, oh, they're gonna die, and then they start killing the innocents, which, you know, it's like, okay, if you keep killing the innocents, there's gonna be no one left to rule, you know? So I thought that was actually pretty good. That, you know, they were being smart about it. They were being smart about how to sway the knights towards Morgana. So I did like that. I wrote down the water, so that water did come in handy. The water allowed Merlin to talk to Freya. Oh, that was sad, but I did like that. Cause see, I thought it was gonna be, I thought they were gonna pull a Dragon Ball, and, you know, it was like, oh, Merlin drinks the water, and now he's so much more powerful. But no, so I thought, yeah, they were gonna pull like the Ultra Divine Water or whatever from Dragon Ball, but instead it was just, you know, the water will literally tell you what to do. So I did like that, and bringing back Freya. I thought that was pretty cool too. Good to see her again. And then, so the only way to kill an immortal, because that's the thing, is that I do like the distinction that technically they're undead. They are the living dead. That's why they're immortal, you know? And the only thing that can beat that, you know, how do we beat the living dead? It's with, you know, a sword forged in the breath of a dragon, basically. So that was a good way of bringing back Excalibur. So I did like that. And, you know, it was really cool having Merlin ride the dragon to the Lake of Avalon. That was pretty cool. So, yeah, I did like that, bringing back Excalibur, because, yeah, we haven't seen Excalibur for a little while, have we? I just completely X'd out of the video. Oh, well. It's probably good. I don't think there's anything I need to, like, look up or anything. Okay. All episodes. Yeah, what season was it season 2? I think it was season 2. No, it was season 1. Again, they're bringing back stuff from season 1. Season 1, episode 9 was Excalibur. So, I mean, yeah, that's pretty crazy that it took until now for Excalibur to come back. So that was pretty interesting. And it is also interesting, you know, they say it's like, okay, well, only Merlin should wield it, you know? Which, you know, you kind of assume, like, well, it's Excalibur, so what, you know, shouldn't he give it to Arthur? Which, that was the thing, the dragon intended for Arthur to wield that blade in the first place, you know? and then it was Uther that took it. So yeah, it's like, oh well, Merlin should wield it. Like, oh, okay, we can do that, but we kind of figured it would be Arthur. But whatever, all right, we can work with that. So I did like that, and I like too that the first time Merlin uses it. This is so amazing. I almost feel like this moment is a bit self-aware when he kills the one guy with Excalibur, and the guy blows up, and he just kind of looks like, and then he keeps going. It's like, I swear that was a self-aware moment, because it like Merlin was like, oh, it blows people up. I like blowing people up, because that's Merlin's thing. Merlin always blows people up. Normally it's with his scepter. This time it was with Excalibur. So I swear when he actually, blew that guy up with Excalibur, he was like, oh, I love this sword. That has to, I know it's not, but I feel like it has to be a self-aware moment, So I love that. We brought back Lancelot. I did like that. Now, granted, okay, yeah, I saw the credits and I recognize the actor's name now, especially after watching Star Trek Picard, which he is prominently featured in, which he's in. I think he's in like 7 episodes of Star Trek Picard, maybe 8 actually, I don't know, but he's in there a lot. So actually watching him again on Merlin is a little weird. Like, I'm not used to Lancelot anymore, and that's the thing, we've only seen Lancelot twice before this episode. So yeah, since the last time we saw Lancelot, I've watched Star Trek Picard, and he is so different in that. For one thing, he's Spanish. His voice is a bit different. I guess that's just because, it's 2020 and, Merlin was 2010. But yeah, it's like, he's definitely like older, and he's playing, this gruff character. He's kind of playing Gwaine the more I think about it. He's like Space Gwaine in that show. But anyway, so yeah, like getting him back in here is like, oh, this is different. He's, nice, respectable Lancelot in this. But I love bringing him back, especially just because he's the only one outside of Gaius that knows of Merlin's powers, which I do like. He's the only one. Gwaine doesn't know. Elian doesn't know. Arthur and Gwen don't know. Gaius knows, obviously, but yeah, that's the thing is that Lancelot is the only other person to know about Merlin's powers. So I like that. It gives them, unique interactions. So that was pretty cool. And then just out of the blue, he brings in Percival. All right, cool. We'll take it. Cool. Hey, I'm willing to bring him in. So yeah, Lancelot just brings in Percival, because that's the thing. It's like, I guess, these 3 seasons have been slowly bringing in the Knights of the Round Table. It's like, all right, we had Leon basically from the start. We had Lancelot, Gawain, Elian, and then it's like, oh, who's this guy? It's like, oh, he's Percival. Okay, let's go. It's like there was nothing special about it. It's just like, oh, and here's Percival. Cool. So yeah, I did like that. He didn't get much to do, but he can definitely he'll definitely be able to prove himself in the next few seasons. So hopefully we get more of him. But yeah, that's the thing, is that right now it's just he's there and he's Lancelot's friend. And because of that, he's now a Knight of the Round Table. Cool. All right. Speaking of the Round Table, they got the Round Table. That was awesome. Just that reveal. It's like, oh, here's a round table. And it's like, oh. And Arthur, looks at it and it's like, oh, I know what this is. And I like that it's, it's not just that, well, Arthur is like, oh, well, you know what? We're all going to be equal here. It's like, no, we need to revive this tradition, Which, a tradition that, we don't know when this tradition was lost, the tradition of the Round Table, but it was held by, the ancient kings of Camelot, Uther's predecessors. But the thing is, Uther is the conqueror. He conquered Camelot. He didn't, inherit it like Arthur will. So, yeah, that's really interesting when it's like, okay, and here is, we compare, just another comparison between Arthur and Uther. Uther just had a table, and he was at the head of the table because he's the king. Arthur is reviving the round table because that's the kind of man he is, and they are all equal at that table. And I like, because it's also not just the knights of the round table, it's the people of the round table. Gaius is there, Guinevere is there, Merlin is there too. So I really did like that. And that's the thing, is that what he's talking about with the round table is pretty much what we all know about the round table. It's that, okay, everyone is equal here. No one's higher, no one's at a special spot. No, it's a round table. Everyone here is equal. But I just love that he explains it. I just love that. It's perfect, So that was really cool. And it's through all this that it really shows you, yes, this is the coming of Arthur. Because, yeah, he took charge. He was leading that. Even though, yes, it was Merlin who went and, emptied the cup and thus destroyed the immortal army, it is Arthur that brings them all together, begins the Knights of the Round Table, So, all of that does show, it's like, okay, Arthur is taking charge here in ways that he kind of hasn't before, So I do like that. And then I love knighting all of them, because he has been through a lot with them. Maybe not Percival, but the rest of them, yes. And he trusts them. He knows that they are all good men. And so even though he knows that Uther would not approve of this, he knights all 4 of them because to him they are worthy, Love that. Love it. It's amazing. And honestly, that scene with the round table and the scene with knighting them, I have to admit I was getting a little teary-eyed. I was actually getting a little teary-eyed watching that. Oh, and I'm sure you noticed for like 5 straight minutes, I was clenching my fist as hard as I can. Because, see, it's not often that I do that, but I do that a lot on My Hero Academia, actually. Well, not so often, but every so often there's a moment in My Hero Academia where I clench my fist as hard as I can, because that is the sort of moment that show creates. And honestly, none of the other shows have really created a moment like that until now. Merlin has created that moment where I'm just like, yes! Issue is, it does really hurt because I literally am clenching as hard as I can, but hey, it's good if I do that, That's how good of a scene this is, if I am clenching my fist as hard as I possibly can. Even if it hurts like hell, but whatever. I wrote down the attack, the big climax of the episode, which was really great. That was really cool watching that, first off, just watching them all, kicking butt was pretty cool. Finding Uther was also interesting, because Uther, he couldn't even look at Arthur. He was really just, even with all this happening, he was just staying down. This has really affected him. Everything with Morgana has really, really affected him. And now he's not the same anymore. Especially just that moment, when he says, like, do you really hate me? And she says, you can't begin to fathom how much I hate you. And just that look on his face, just shock and sorrow, is just so, it's incredible. But, man, just the toll this takes on him, he's not going to be the same again. And I like that they also say that in, we never see him after they basically, find him. And, once they're all defeated and Arthur goes and says, you're safe now, father. We never see him again. All we hear is that he's really taking this really badly. What time? Oh, it's 12:01. Sorry. I was just like, I haven't checked the time in a minute. Sorry. Got to publish today's Doctor Who episode. Time Heist just went up. So, I have notifications on Twitter. Why is that? Okay. Oop. There we go. Yay. Okay. Back to business. So, we never see him again. We only hear that, he's taking this so horribly. And the more interesting moment, actually, is, when Merlin says, like, he's taking this really horribly. You're really going to need to, step up. And he says, you may even need to become the king. And it's almost like there is no reaction on Arthur, but that makes it all the more powerful reaction. That when Merlin says, you may need to become the king now, Arthur just doesn't respond. Which he doesn't respond with, yes, you're right, it's time. But he also doesn't respond with his natural response, prior to this episode would be, no, my father can pull through this. He'd say something to this degree, my father can pull through this, he is the rightful king. But when Merlin says, perhaps you need to be the king, you need to become the king, Arthur just doesn't say anything. That is a very powerful reaction to that, Like, ooh, okay, this is, it shows you, this is very serious what's happened, The show has changed. The show has completely changed, Oh, man. Speaking of the attack, by the way, I like that Gaius got in there and actually he actually threw down, which was pretty cool. Gaius actually went in and attacked Morgause. I thought that was pretty cool. And then the 1-2 punch of Gaius and then Merlin, who knocked her into a pillar. Which, that's the thing, when she knocked into that looked like it could dislocate her shoulder, and she hit that pillar. And I was like, oh my gosh, that really looked like it hurt. And it's like, I think that did really hurt. She might be dead. I'm pretty sure she is dead. Which, we've had Morgause since season 2, so I wouldn't put it past them if she was gone now. So, yeah, Morgause may be dead, which is pretty crazy. And then, speaking of Morgause being dead, Morgana showing up, I will say it's like, oh, are we going to get this? Are we going to get like an epic battle, an epic sorcerer battle between Merlin and Morgana? It's like, no. Is he just going to drive that sword through her heart? No. She had, this makes it sound bad, but a magical temper tantrum, but it kind of was, all of her emotions were being expelled outward as magic. And pretty much the entire throne room, well, not throne room, but I guess the war room, because the throne room is the bigger one. But, I mean, that entire place just collapsed, basically. So, which is how she escaped. She is gone. Morgause's body is gone, but I'm pretty sure Morgause is dead, and now Morgana is just on the run. Which means she can come back and still be a seasoned villain, but she's going to need a different plan. And that does still lead to the possibility that we will have an epic sorcerer battle between Merlin and Morgana. I kind of hope so. I kind of hope we do get to do that. And then, the last thing I wrote down, the sword in the stone. That was pretty cool. That, the dragon saying like, hey, when you're done, you need to seal this sword away where no one will be able to use it. And so Merlin goes and finds the stone and magically binds Excalibur to the stone. Which means it's completely set up. The sword and the stone is there. What we set up in, season 1. And I like that it's both. Because we also had, which was a great shot, of the sword being lifted out of the water, and you even see, the arm there. It's like, there it is. You know, the Lady of the Lake grants the sword. Instead of to King Arthur, grants the sword to Merlin, who then puts that sword in the stone, thereby giving you both versions of the story. Now, granted, I will say, I think people said, like, technically the two stories are of two different swords. I don't know how that works. Again, I know little about Arthurian legend and Arthurian canon, so yeah, I think it could be either of them. I don't know. You guys can clear that up if you want to. But I like that it's both. I like that in the episode they gave you both. They gave you the Lady of the Lake, you know, giving away the great sword, and they established the sword in the stone. So that was pretty cool. Which I hope we do get Arthur pulling the sword from the stone in this series. I feel like they have to. I don't know. You know, there is something I also wonder is, does Merlin actually finish? You know, I know we have 2 seasons left of this show, which is pretty crazy, you know? We have 2 seasons left of this show. Is the season 5 finale a definitive series finale, or was it a season finale and they were never renewed? I hope it was an actual season finale. I would really hope so, you know? I would really hope that it was a proper series finale. So, I mean, we'll have to see. And I guess the main reason I say this is because I just finished Sherlock this week, and that was not a proper series finale, but because it does leave the door open that there could be more seasons. There just haven't been yet. So hopefully, because, you know, season 3 is 2010, so I imagine that 2012 will be our final season of Merlin. So hopefully that was an actual final season and we get through a ton of great stuff. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to next season because this is going to be quite the shakeup, I feel like. Even though, yes, I feel like we're still going to have our, you know, traditional episodic Merlin episodes. You know, I don't think this is going to become like a serialized show or something, but, you know, we're definitely going to keep our episodic episodes. You know, our Freak of the Week kind of episodes. But at the same time, we have changed everything. A lot of our characters have changed. We lost Morgana. She's not going to be around all the time. And, you know, things are different. The status quo has definitely changed on this show, which I really love that. And I'm very curious as to where we are going next season. So, yeah. That is basically it. With all that being said, I'm Alex from 7th Hour Films, and I will see you guys next time in Season 4. See you guys then. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. If you want to watch more of my Merlin reactions, you can click on the playlist, you can subscribe if you haven't done that already, and be sure you hit that notification bell. You can support me on Patreon and follow me on social media, links below in the description. See you guys later.